This is Bengria, a small country home to an impressive 76 million people. It's a country of wild swings, known for explosive growth, explosive recessions, and, well, explosions. While it might be insensitive to make light of, the Bengria explosion has made a serious impact, not just on its people, but its economy, and a surprising one at that. Bengria has a few but vital natural resources, well-educated workforce, a steady inflow of investments, and a growing tourism sector, as these foreign workers tell their peers back home of how beautiful, clean, and most of all, safe the country has become, changing international perception from just a short time ago. These are relatively new developments, and while the country is generally doing well in lots of ways, it's still dealing with the same problems it's been dealing with for centuries. So, to better understand this volatile economy, we must answer 3 key questions. How did we get here? In what ways did the country deal with disaster? And economically, is everything as it seems? I am the economics doctor, and today we'll be diagnosing the current economic state of Bengria. This episode of the Economics Doctor is sponsored by you, our patrons. For just $2 a month, you can support the show and gain exclusive member-only benefits like access to our members-only Discord. Without all of our wonderful supporters, this show wouldn't be possible. Many thanks to everyone who helps make this show a reality. Bengria's economy prior to the 90s was humble and mostly agrarian. Its major exports being wheat and fish, and raw resources like iron and copper. All of this would change in 1991 under President Marcel Antonypen. With his Bengria 2000 plan, he greatly increased investment into infrastructure, education, and government-owned industries. And for a while, this worked. Literacy rates increased greatly this decade, and ports, airports, and railroads were constructed connecting even the smaller rural towns to the global economy. But famously, many of these emerging industries would fail, as they just couldn't compete globally with foreign markets that had such a head start. The one notable exception was its pharmaceutical industry, and this is due to comparative advantage. Even back then, producing pharmaceuticals in Bengria was simply one of the easiest places to do so, as they have the natural resources in abundance and an educated but cheap workforce to work these jobs. The only thing they lacked at the start was the capital, which, after Antonypen opened the floodgates to private investment, came pouring in. Foreign companies set up shop nearly overnight. While the economy boomed in the 90s, it collapsed hard in the 2000s. Not quite the Bengria 2000s everyone was hoping for. The country was struggling to pay off all the loans taken out in the 90s. Their domestic industries were failing, and the industries foreign nations invested in simply took all of the profits that could have made a positive difference back to their home nations. Bengria tried to pay off all these loans through printing money, but as we've already explored time and time again, this rarely goes well. Hyperinflation followed soon after, as did defaulting on its debts. Right when things looked like they couldn't get worse for this once up-and-coming economy, that's when disaster truly struck. Now, the horrors of that day do not need to be restated, especially in an economic video, but what is worth speaking about is what happened afterwards. Prior to the explosion, the only foreign companies of note operating in the country were the manufacturing branches of a few pharmaceutical companies, including the company we now call MB Industries, the company at the heart of this tragedy. Afterwards, however, all sorts of workers, scientists, and researchers from foreign organizations came to provide aid, research, and profit from this unique disaster. As cold-hearted as that may sound, this had a real tangible benefit for everyday people of Bengria. Unemployment dropped drastically, as there was suddenly a strong demand for all sorts of services the incoming workers could afford. And as much as the population was already highly educated, they were able to fill many of the high-paying positions that opened up quickly. The government itself made a few smart tactical moves as well. It raised taxes in the name of disaster relief, all of them strategically targeting the foreign companies moving in. Next was rolling out the new Bengria Royal. The old Bengria currency at this point had seen such extreme hyperinflation, it was just easier for everyday citizens to use foreign currencies than to use their own, as there was that little confidence in worth from day to day. The new Bengria Royal traded for the old currency at a rate of 100,000 to 1. With a dramatic increase in interest rates, inflation finally dipped under double-digit numbers for the first time in years. This brought a level of confidence back to the Royal and made the currency actually easy to use again, as nobody likes to spend $1 million Royal for just a cheeseburger. With their monetary autonomy re-secured, new industries, and a dramatic drop in unemployment, everything looked like it was on the up and up for the country. But was it? The short answer is yes. The long answer is no. While just taking a look at GDP figures would show that the country has never been doing better, the reality for the average citizen didn't exactly reflect this. While, yes, the research and pharmaceutical industries were booming, this was at the cost of everything else. While they did introduce a lot of money into an economy, it's difficult to get it to circulate in the economy in a way the average citizen will benefit. This is due to a phenomenon that we economists call the resource curse. We've gone over it extensively in our other videos. Just watch any one on a country with oil. But to quickly summarize, single extremely profitable exports increase demand for the nation's currency, making its currency more valuable, which is great for those buying foreign goods with this currency, as they now comparatively cost less, but worse for those trying to sell goods to a foreign market, as they now comparatively cost more. As all other industries can't sell their products for as cheap due to the exchange rate, they now start to die off, and quickly the whole economy becomes entirely dependent on that one industry. And when that industry begins to fail, so does the whole country. Now, since in this scenario we aren't dealing with a single raw resource, the effects aren't quite so drastic. But we are starting to see some of these effects now in Bengria. Once again, domestic industries have failed to make it to global markets. And once again, foreign investors are now taking their money back home with them, just this time a little bit more taxed. While there have been good, high-paying, highly educated positions, they are relatively few in number compared to the whole country's otherwise bleak job market. Inflation has remained stable, but the usual systems for controlling inflation, like an independent central bank, aren't in place. So, while no one can predict the future, least of all economists, it seems unless something drastic changes, Bengria will be doomed to repeat its cycle of big booms and even bigger busts. Now it's time to diagnose this economy with our 5 key metrics. Starting out with GDP. Bengria has an annual GDP of $710 billion, giving it a solid 7 out of 10. GDP per capita. This is split between a large population of nearly 100 million, giving it a much less impressive 4 out of 10. Not very good. Stability and confidence. This is a tough one, as there is nothing stable about this economy, but it has weathered stormy seas time and time again, and is a politically stable country in a more peaceful section of the world. Still, it can't receive anything higher than a 4 out of 10. Industry. Bengria has a few world-leading industries and is even the home of the regional headquarters for several of the largest international companies. It's seeing the growth of a decent tourism industry in recent years and still exports large amounts of agriculture products even today. 7 out of 10. Very nice. Growth. Growth has been tremendous over the past decade and is one of the quickest growing economies in the region. Or it was until a few years ago, where things have stagnated. Whether this is a temporary lull or the peak of the roller coaster before a deep plunge is still yet to be seen. Still, with the statistics we have today, it has earned itself an impressive 8 out of 10. And that's it for today's checkup. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something today. I know that you did.